So this morning I also got this other intuition about psychology and other sciences that in oh shoot I did have a vision as well. Now that I'm trying to record this, I also did have a vision that I was going to record this. So it's basically saying science, psychology and science will have to align with their spirituality in order to evolve. That's what the description is, the intuition that I get. So I've been having like a difficulty in explaining myself when it comes to recently, though it was mostly psychology, kind of a topic that is offered to psychology or psychiatrist, kind of a practice that is offered to people, right? In order to assist them to break through whatever issues they may have, mental issues, emotional issues, and whatnot. I find it, I always felt like psychology, to be honest, I know it's a science, right? But I never really, to be honest, trusted it. I just feel like I don't see why people go to psychiatrists. I'm going to be honest. Someone might say, oh no, it works for me. It's like, but then tell me something. Why do you need to go there for months and years sometimes? No, she's been seeing a psychiatrist for 3 years. It's like, huh? Why? What kind of healing is that? Where you need to go and see someone for 3 fucking years? What is that? I just looked at it and I was like, that's a money-making scheme. I'm sorry. I just think it's bullshit. And when you look at TV, if you were to go on what TV says, obviously you can't always go with what TV says. It sounds like these people, it looks like these people just sit there and be like, tell me more. I'm listening, go on. I don't know. I don't know what they do there. But it seems as if like their main job is to listen and maybe ask you questions to direct you towards something, or I don't know what is it that they're directing you towards, but obviously it's not anything to do with your spirituality. Here's the thing. You will not get anywhere with your healing until you heal your spirit. True healing starts with spirituality. Your spirit. When you heal your spirit, you heal everything else after. When you are healed spiritually, when you are healed as a program, when you don't have any bugs, any viruses, any what, you heal your physical self, you heal your mental self, you heal your emotional self, you heal your financial self, you heal your social self, you heal your family relationship self, your love relationship, you heal your heart relationship, all those blockages that you have, be it physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, they go away because your program, your spirit is working at its optimal level. You don't have any boxes, you got rid of the boxes. You don't have any viruses, you got rid of the viruses. As much as debugger and antivirus came here to assist, there's many other antiviruses. They need to wake up and start doing their jobs as well. But they would help us to get rid of some of the viruses and debugging some of the code problems as well we have. But let's just go back to healing in terms of psychology. And I get that it's also going to be healing with any other one. Your physical self as well, like your doctors as well. your psychologists, your doctors, any kind of medical practitioner, any kind of healing practitioner, including your witch doctors, including your witch doctors, or your traditional kind of doctors, they need to evolve spiritually self before they will be able to evolve their domain in terms of psychology, whatever science that they're in, and maybe even medicine and whatnot, because people have said things about alternative healing or something like that. They were trying to get to a point where they're talking about a healer who is in tune with themselves in such a way that they understand that they might be healing a physical body, but there's a spiritual person or beingness that is linked to this physical body. And if you are a program, and not if you are a program, but if you're a healer of some kind, maybe a psychologist or a medical doctor, whatever it is that you are, and you yourself are not in tune with your spirituality, you will fail to understand the healing that is required in order for you to heal that physical ailment. You won't be able to link it up. So here's the thing. Let's talk about the chakras again. I don't like talking about them because I'm not that good with them, but this is my understanding. When I was going through my awakening, I kept getting the comments about, from spirits that is, your heart is blocked. You need to open your heart. Your sacral chakra has an issue. You need to work on your sacral chakra. And I was like, what does that even mean? Right? What does that even mean? Only to find that as I'm guided towards healing those points in my system, those energy points in my system, guess what Spirit did? First, he started first with this thought thing. It's like, you're thinking somehow. Work on that thinking of yours. Why do you feel this way? Why do you think this way? Let's talk about that topic. Let's meditate on it. And I would sit like I'm sitting now, meditate on something. And it would be like an odd thing. Meditate on something that will lead me towards opening my heart. Like understanding something, right? Where I'm like, so when they were doing this to me, they were actually trying to do this. And they did this because of this. Now that I understand why things happen to me, why, let's say, this heart thing was actually related to the exes I had. That no, your family used to send these people so that they can come in and pretend like they like you and then break up with you so that they can break your heart intentionally. So there's nothing wrong with you. Then I had to do what? Oh my goodness. So there's nothing wrong with me. I was set up. Guess what happened? My heart started opening. Then they would go back and say, you're going to meet someone. And when you meet someone, that person is going to be okay. He's going to be doing this. The reason why you didn't meet this person is because your family did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to block you and that person from coming in. You are actually supposed to be with certain people, not necessarily just any old fuck out there. Oh, is that how it works? Oh, they're called what? My counterparts. Oh yeah, I remember. My heart opens again. Why? Because I'm feeling like I'm not hopelessly bad in love, because that's what I used to feel like. I used to feel like love and me don't connect. I'm very bad with love. I used to say things out loud like, I'm bad with relationships. That was my belief. But this is how Spirit is working through me, to me, with me, for my heart to open up. They show me all these things that I used to believe about myself or think about myself. That eventually leads to opening heart. And eventually they go to the point of giving me, remembering the visions I had about this specific person, a counterpart of mine, how I used to feel, and what in that vision I felt, and all these nice things. And I start getting excited about meeting this guy. Guess what happens? My heart chakra opens up again. And as they worked on that heart chakra that way, where they were trying to get me to feel and think differently about me, relationships, love, people in general, just love, my heart, the ice around my heart started melting and melting and melting. Then they dealt with forgiveness as well, right? And how they actually attacked forgiveness for me was they had me to get to the point where I actually said these specific words. I hate him. I hate him. That is my ex. I hate him. And when that happened, I also opened my heart. For some reason, that was the trick. I needed to cut some connection that they did, some weird witchy craft thing that they did towards my heart. When I said that, I started unblocking again, another, taking off all these ties or links or connections that they had made to my heart that I didn't realize that were not serving me anymore. So I had to release him in that way. That is, they made me see him for who he is. And then eventually I got to the point that I hate this guy. I really truly hate him. My heart opened again. When I accepted that I actually don't love this person, I actually don't have any feelings for this. I have been saying it, but it didn't work in a way that I thought it would work. Only when I realized that I actually hate him. I actually don't like that person. I actually never liked that person. I was forcing myself to be with that person. Or I thought I was forcing myself, only to find that they had used also, again, witchy stuff, black magic to tie my heart to him or what, something like that. And I'm realizing now that what I felt or what I thought I felt was not real. It was an illusion. And that released my heart some more. Now I'm going to block my heart, right? I mean, I don't believe I'm a bad person. I don't believe that I'm bad with relationships. I don't believe that I'm going to fail always with relationships, because I know I'm made for someone. I understand that they were trying to get me to a point where I don't meet my counterparts. I understand all of that. Then my heart started getting lighter and lighter and lighter. How does that feel physically? It was like a weight was, when I said I hate him, there was this weight that just, I didn't realize that weight was not just heavy on my heart. It was on my heart. It was on my self-confidence, that is my self-confidence being my solar plexus. It was also blocking my creativity. That is my sacral chakra. And as a result, my root chakra also started stabilizing again. Like my root chakra being for stability started stabilizing. I guess how that looks like physically. I used to not be able to walk properly. I used to have and I developed that during my awakening. It's not that I was what do you call it? I had like coordination issues. It was my root chakra that was being attacked as well. They were attacking all the chakras, But my root chakra, because of they were taking it. But as I get stabilized, my heart, my solar plexus, some of the issues on my solar plexus leave. Some of the issues on my sacral leave. And some of the issues on my root chakra left. And then all of a sudden I'm starting to walk a little bit more stable. I don't feel like I'm falling immediately when I get up. And I'm like, okay, so it showed. It blood showed physically as well. I started getting what other issues? Oh, the other pressures that I had on my legs, on my knees, on my ovaries started getting lesser and lesser. And I started seeing like improvement of the things that I thought were physical issues, that they were actually spiritual issues, energy issues in my system, in the physical, right? But things that were caused from a spiritual point of view, me not understanding my spirit, not understanding myself in that way, where I would work on myself as a program, understanding that when I work on myself as a program, trying to get rid of all these viruses, all this coding, all this fucking bad coding that they were adding to my program. You're a bad person. You don't deserve relationship. You don't deserve, you're never going to be good with relationships. All this coding that they were trying to program in me, as I debugged myself and got rid of this, because I am able to take out, fragment myself, that is, break myself up so that I can put myself back together. When I did that, I started healing. I didn't heal I healed from a physical point of view, but in a more spiritual way. Why? Because I was guided by spirit. There was no doctor in that cabin. There was no psychologist in that cabin. There was no physical, there was no medical doctor. But I started healing, even from poisons, physical poisons. I started healing because spiritually, I was guided spiritually to think differently, heal differently. And when I did that, physically, I became stronger. Even poison couldn't stand, because why? When you heal from a spiritual level and understand your core, understand who you are, and understand the things that they have been putting in your program, the shit that they've been adding to your program is not real, it's not part of your functionality. You're a loving person, you deserve love, you're going to be loved, you're going to love and be loved back. All of that, all those programs that they were putting in which were bad for you, you start getting rid of them. And as you do that, what do? You become happier. And that happiness is what? Vibration. And how is that vibration? Higher. And what is happening with that high vibration? It starts shaking you up everywhere else in your chakras, because you're vibrating high from a point of view of heart. It's just, you're just vibrating high. It starts healing every other chakras as well. Start assisting every other chakra, right? And then you start getting more stable and more aligned, right? Your energy points are getting more aligned. They're healing. You're healing, right? Yes, I still have physical issues. So to say I don't have physical issues, but it's because of, for me, I'm still being attacked, right? They're still sending this, like I'm sitting here today. I just felt my root chakra being attacked and my sacral chakra being attacked while I'm sitting here. The moment I start recording, they start their bullshit, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is, with the environment, if I wasn't in this environment, I will start healing completely. And when I move out of this environment, I will heal completely. But my vibration is so high now that they send these attacks. I just feel them. Just feel them. And I need to get to a point where I don't feel them anymore. Because these needle things that they were doing, this itching and this pain that they were doing, it's them throwing some spiritual attack as a curse, as a some sort of a curse or whatever that they're throwing at me, that manifests in the physical as a pain in the leg or an itch somewhere or all these things, right? Now, in order for a healer, be it a psychologist healer, a medical doctor healer, to be a good healer, to understand healing to the point where they're able to do proper healing, they'll need to be evolved themselves, that is spiritually aligned themselves, in order to understand when they're talking to this person, they're not just talking to a physical being. There's a spirit of them that is coming in. It's a spiritual person with a physical body. That's what they're going to understand. And once you heal the spirit, it's like when they say you're going to evolve, they mean your profession. You can still be called a psychologist, right? But you're going to have to evolve beyond just being a psychologist who focuses just on emotions and mental and what. You're going to have to be a psychologist who can go straight to the point. And let's check first your spirit. Say, do you understand? You're going to have to be able to talk to people on a spiritual level as well in order for you to be able to be a healer as you need to be a healer. But if you don't, what you're going to find is at some stage you're not going to find people coming towards you like that. Because I remember us talking about who could actually do this counseling, this type of spiritual counseling. And I said to Father, I don't know if I want, not for me, but I don't know if I like that people must go to a third party to talk to Father, right? Or to talk to their ancestors. I would rather have them go directly to talk to their ancestors and Father. That is God Himself. That's where the real spiritual healing is going to come from. But what's going to happen is that once people get that kind of spiritual healing, the chances of them going and meeting a psychiatrist will probably be lesser. The chances of them going and meeting a medical doctor will be lesser. So, how do you evolve as a healer, as a spiritual, as a doctor, and as a psychologist? How are you going to evolve from that profession? Because whether you like it or not, a lot of things are going to be taken away anyway. A lot of professions are facing some sort of extinction. It's not even about aligning to God. It's about the fact that your AI is telling you, I'm going to automate that shit. You'll just walk into a box, I'll assess this person, and I'll see where the pain points are, and I'll administer the healing. There's a bed. You just lie on this bed. I'll run a scan on you, and I'll give you I'll make a diagnosis, and I'll give you your medication. You see what I mean? Even machines are going to be taking up certain types of human ways of working. So it's important for even healers, or I'm not going to call you healers. I'm not going to call psychologists and doctors healers. These medical practitioners of some kind, it's important for them to start evolving in such a way that they start picking up their spirituality. Who knows? Your spirituality could actually be a spiritual healer. You could be that. This is why you were driven towards being a doctor or being a psychologist. You could be that. But now you're going to have to go in and understand what kind of program are you? What kind of a healer program are you? What were you supposed to be healing in the first place? Because how are you supposed to be assisting spirituality heal in the way you are, as in like a program? You were programmed to heal what? Like, let's say antivirus is a healer program. It's a light program, right? He's a healer, antivirus. So when he comes in, he takes out the viruses, right? How does that translate to physical? It's him who's going to have to find that out. What gifts he has and how that translates into the physical. Same thing as debugger is a dark healer, right? Because he's also able to cause you harm if he wants to. That is, he can write a bad, he can change, he can go and decode, and then when he changes your program, he could be malicious in that way. Like my counterpart was malicious towards my other counterpart and he rewrote his program to behave a certain way, right? He could do something like that. He's got that darkness in him, right? Now, you need to find out. They're going to need to, all these psychologists and whatever, they're going to need to find out who they are spiritually, if they are healers, or are they just doing it, the profession, because a friend of theirs was doing the profession, or they just did the profession because it sounded like something that they would like. Perhaps when they chose that profession, they chose it. I get the feeling that most people are going to find that they chose their professions because of something in them was just calling them towards that. But how you're going to practice that will probably look different. All you have to know and trust is that you got a purpose. You were designed for a purpose. Your spiritual purpose is key to understanding your recreational purpose. Your spiritual purpose is the one on your program level. Like me, I'm defragmentation tool, but my recreational purpose could be one of them is healing. I mean, is teaching, right? Which is what I'm doing now, teaching both myself and whoever else is going to listen. But the other one is healing. I heal by understanding concepts and breaking them up and putting them together again. Like I'm doing it for psychologists and doctors. This is me defragmenting the professions. I'm defragmenting the concept of doctors or whatever kind of a physical modern type of healers. That's what I'm doing now. I'm defragmenting that block. Those people, I'm splitting them up and I'm putting them again. So what comes out of it is up to them. What they're gonna find something in here that will start directing them towards finding certain things about them, picking up. I like to talk about this with my clients. Maybe I can be like this, and maybe I need to connect to my spirit team. They will tell you, direct you. You're actually this. Oh. And then you're going to start finding those things of what are your powers? That is, what are your gifts? You got a power to. Reason why you're able to be so good with psychology is because you have a power to, I don't know, maybe you're a memory program or whatever. I don't know what that is. You're going to find that out. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to apply it in the physical world, in your profession, in your recreational purpose, in a way that you need to. This is what I'm saying. Those that kind of a healing type will have to evolve. In order for them to evolve, they need to be spiritual. They need to understand who their spirits are. It's not to say that you don't need doctors. We're not saying that. We're just saying, how are you going to be healing from now on going forward? Right? You must remember now, you're not just going to be healing physical people. You're going to be healing spiritual people with physical bodies. That's what you're going to be healing. Now, let's go to not drop it, but put this one aside for a while. I need a block. They want me to go and work on that science block. Science or scientists kind of a people. I always said, similar with psychologists and them, they have been, scientists are limited to physicalness of a being or physicalness of an environment, the same way as doctors and psychologists would be limited to that. But we need you to go above that. We need you to evolve above that, to remember your spirit and understand how your spirit is supposed to be applying this type of healing. Similarly with scientists. Now, scientists, there's a science, there's all these concepts, and you're seeing it for the physicalness of it. That is, you can see the stars. If you want to do this cosmo kind of science, you can see the atoms and whatnot and whatnot and whatnot and whatnot. You're a scientist. You are interested in that kind of work for a reason, right? I don't know what kind of learner program you are, because I'm not supposed to be telling you this, but it's okay. They're saying it's okay, right? But you're gonna have to find out what kind of a program you are, as in like a scientist. I'm hearing that when you do, it's gonna open a lot of knowledge for you. You're gonna be able to see things far beyond just you're gonna be able to link up those science things to what spirituality is for them. Okay. So so I'm going directly when that happens, right? When I just said that, I'm like, does Earth have a spirit? That's me. I'm like, wait, does Earth have a spirit? And they're like, yeah, because I know it, as in like it exists in the operating system under program files. You go there, you find planets and stuff, you open, you find all this, there's Earth there, Earth folder there. That's how I'm understanding the spirituality of Earth. But you're gonna go into deeper to understand the structures, how the program works. How it exists in spirit and how it's physical. I don't know if I'm getting this right. They're saying it's actually one science. It's actually one science. It's just on Earth, it's broken down into different things. I'm getting that all the nitty-gritties, all the details leads up to one science, universal kind of what is it? Cosmic kind of science, universe kind of science. How it drops down. It's like when I explain to say Father, when I say universe is actually an operating system, equivalent to operating system, right? And in the operating system, Earth, in the operating system or in the folder of program files, what Earth, it's actually a sub program of universe. We all know that, right? But you need to be able to equate that, have the universal view of things and the computer kind of science kind of view of things, and understand how it drops. But when you take it from below, as small as all the small molecules of atoms and whatnot, and you rise it up above, you realize that the science is actually the same. It's trying to prove, all the sciences are trying to prove the same things. The natural sciences are trying to understand how the world, how Earth evolves and what is impacting it. It's like, what I'm understanding is like everything leads up to, you can split it up on Earth, right? One focuses on geography, like natural kind of sciences. The other one's physical, quantum, whatever, astronomy or astronomy kind of, but they all lead up. There must be a one science that they are all encompassed under the same science of what God was trying to program, or what God, the Creator, programmed as one science. He programmed it as one, but then we break it down. But scientists need to be able to understand spirituality in that way, and understand that everything is a program. And how would it be if they could understand that everything is a program, and understand that in order for it to behave the way it behaves, they will start understanding the spirituality of it, to say, it's almost like, how do I explain this? It's almost like everything is a program, right? We got that. Now, in order for us, scientists are trying to prove or understand and learn how everything works. They are essentially trying to understand the programming behind it. Oh. The behavioral way these things operate. Matter, it's actually them trying to understand. The science is actually trying to understand the programming. Am I getting this right? Am I going off base here? What you're saying is, as God, you have idea of what you want to do, and you would program it based on that purpose, right? They will need to pick up, the scientist needs to understand the purpose. What is the purpose of Earth? And as they go down the level of up until the atom, what is the purpose of atom? But in order to do that, the spirituality of the science has to come into play. Else it will always be limited to just the physical. I'm getting that sometimes this is why some of the sciences sort of like kind of start to merge together. Because it's actually one science. What you call science is purposeful programming. Okay. It's just programming. It's just programming with purpose. You knew, it's like God knows why He needs an atom to behave a certain way. In order for you to understand why an atom behaves a certain way, why does it need to behave a certain way? You would have to understand the spirituality of it, of what was the purpose for it. An atom cannot ask that question of itself. It can, but what I'm getting is, so they're essentially trying to understand the programming detail. Father keeps sending me back to Uncle Online. When my uncle, or the devil, found out that I was studying computer science and astronomy, he was pissed. He called my family and he said to them, how could you be so dumb and let her study computer science and astronomy together? And I was also doing physics. So he knew that they're almost all the same thing. That's why he's... Ooh. Okay, I remember that Uncle Omen was going to give me a clue of this thing. A proof, confirmation of the fact that it's all one science and it's all about understanding that program. That's what science is. And they're saying, including even the psychologists and the doctors, have to understand the program. They want to understand the program. When they're doing what they're doing, they basically want you to understand the program. It's like if antivirus was trying to understand a program, why the program is not behaving the way they're behaving, he would pick up what the virus is. Hence, he's a healer program. He can act in that capacity of being a psychologist or a doctor or whatever, because he's programmed for that, right? But with him, he's able to understand the details of, he should be able to understand the details of that specific program that he is applying his antivirus to. Similarly, debugger would look at a person in that way, a spirit program in that way. But even for scientists or science, they need to be able to look at science by understanding the programming behind it. That's what they're essentially trying to do. To understand why things do what they do. What was the whole reason? I'm hearing it's a bottom-up approach. It's like they started at the bottom and they're trying to go up. But it all leads to the eventual universe. Universal studies. Everything. All the things. Elements. Is it not elements? Because I keep getting the idea in my head of a metal. They keep showing me a metal thing. Even how metals and what do you call them? What's the word? Metal, wood, and what? How they behave. It's a problem. Okay, they're taking me back to my awakening. In my awakening, during my awakening, I was imagining. I used to block certain types of attacks by asking Father to change the behavior of wood to do a certain thing, or metal to do a certain thing. That's essentially what witchcraft is. They are updating a program of a particular thing to behave a certain way. Like wood or metal. Okay, it's like they would I feel like they're copying a program and they're updating it on the fly. It's not saved. This is why it's magic. It's not it's not a program. They are running a program. I'm hearing that they have a program that they can write a witch type of program. which will act only for just those few minutes when they call up that program to do something in your environment or with you. And that's all that. This is why it's not saved into the universe's law or the universe's operating system kind of a way. They have they know how to prayer spells are like prayers. They know how to call up a procedure on a fly to change that program to behave a certain way. But initially, they would be stopped by karma. When the karmic law was working, immediately they didn't switch off just karma. They switch off some other things as well. I remember that, Father. So that then they don't get some universal laws they switched off. I remember my brother, one of my brothers, right, having an issue with me coming here without something also fixed. Not just karma switched on. He wanted switched on. He said karma should be switched on immediately. But there was something specific to the universal law that works with karma that they switched off. Right? And he was saying, she's not going in there unless you have a fix for that. This is my brother, who I say he's like a project manager kind of a program. And I had to defend Father there because he was giving Father a hard time. I remember he was like, she's not going in there until you have a plan for that law, that specific law. And I was like, Father's trying his best, And he looked at me, he's like, oh, sorry, like in a apologetic way that, he didn't want to be so harsh around me. And then I had to hug Father. I remember hugging him and I said, don't worry, you'll find a solution. I know you'll do it. And he just left me. We spoke, then we spoke about what I was going to do. He was showing me his stuff, what he's done so far, what my brother was worried about. And I have to remember what that was as well. I have to remember what is it, which law. There's the law, that universal law that they did also. They did two changes, I remember. One was karmic law switched off. But there was something specific to universal law that they did that would have prevented this whole thing from being picked up. Like whenever they did this bad black magic or witchcraft, which was attacking others, it would sort of like trigger a response or deny them that kind of access. They gave themselves access. They gave themselves access to be able to, okay, that's what they did. And you know what's happening while I'm trying to figure this out? Their bikes are revving. They are revving a bike to disrupt my thinking, to attack my intuition. They also disabled the access part of it, where they allowed access to the universal law to enable them to update programs on the fly. Sheesh. But that they did on my layer, not on earth layer, not on the real earth layer. They did it on the proxy layer that exists within me. They gave themselves, they changed access to allow update of programs on the fly. I remember they wanted, father said they didn't want to fiddle around with universal law too much. It was going to break everything, essentially. If they had done, they couldn't switch off universal law completely. Because if they switched off universal law, a lot of things wouldn't work on that layer. Okay. So it's like if they switched off universal law, they switched off. It's like you're rendering that layer inactive. So you're not going to use it. It's not going to be alive. So they had to leave universal law on, but then change the access for them to be able to do some sort of updates to programs, or call up certain programs and do updates to them to make things happen a certain way. I'm hearing that they gave themselves like access, full access to update. It's like a program that you only, let's talk about Magneto kind of a person. Let's say he was only able to do metal. He was the only one who would have to be able to mend metal like that. It would be just that program that had that kind of access. They gave them themselves access to even the like, they're not made in that way, but they gave themselves access to have access to powers like that. And I remember my sister used to, the only thing that stops them from doing what they did, like what Magneto would do, right, is the energy. They don't have enough energy to bend metals and stuff. They wish they did. This is why they make such movies. But they know they can manipulate it by making it have a sound. Like they used to tap on my roof. They can do such small little manipulations because they're not high vibrational beings. If they were high vibrational beings, they would be able to do that with that metal. So they went and gave themselves access. This is the secrets that they have amongst each other. These societies, what societies? That's the secret. These magicians, that's the secrets that they have. How to access a certain type of power, which is not necessarily assigned to them. But it's limited because they are small programs trying to operate or bend or manipulate something that needs a lot of energy to do. This is why they siphoned from me the energy that I had in order for them to be able to do the things that they did. But they couldn't still yield or wield that power because of their low vibrationalness only allowed them access up until a point. And once, for me, it will be easy. Because I was able to do that even when I was young. Shit. They gave them themselves that access. This is what my brother was saying. Is that they have this type of access and this karma is switched off. And I remember him saying, if those two things are not working, she's not going in there. Especially karma. Well, father said, no, she's going to switch on karma immediately. But then, goodness, when I say that, right, they are taking me now. Okay, so it means I'm right. They don't like it. So, they are Now I lost my train of thought. That's what they wanted to do. My brother didn't want, he wanted Father to have a plan for the Pope both. He was concerned that they could have switched off universal law. Yes. He was like, what? I don't know what they did. We don't know what they did there. What changes they made. And she can't go in there blind like that. You must make sure you have a plan for both of those things. Universal law must be working and karma must be working. Father said they can't switch off universal law because if they did, it will render that layer anyway useless. So he doesn't think they'll be that stupid. He said they probably tried it and realized that, I think he did say they tried it, not probably, they tried it and realized that the layer won't work well. It's like you would just see that things are not working. You wouldn't be able to do things that you were doing today. You wouldn't be able to go through. Nothing will work because it's almost like you switched off the rules. It's like when you switch off universal law, you're basically taking configuration away. So this is why Father says, I'm sure that the configuration is working. I'm sure that universal law is working. This is why that layer still stands. But they might have given themselves access to change things on somehow. So and I remember seeing my uncle and my imposter goddess sister trying something, and eventually what they did, you know how Uncle Omen likes access to things. What he did was try to play around with access. And they gave themselves access on my environment, on my layer, the proxy layer, to be able to change programs on the fly. No. The Father's taking me on to ROM, random access memory, RAM. That random access memory, they are making their changes on the fly from a random access memory point of view. That's where they are running their magics. Because random access memory accesses the system. It's like what I understood when Father was explaining this to me. When you don't have access, should I be sharing this, Father? I think I should be sharing it. Alright. So when you don't have access to a specific function or a specific folder or something like that, all you have to do is wait for it to come onto a random access memory type of environment. There, access is not there. That is, random access memory takes away, disregards, what do you call them? Authorization. Because it needs to process everything. Random access memory cannot have authorization because it's a random access memory. It needs to process. It's like me. I need to process. So I need to process the whole system. I'm going to have to access everything. So they go there, they wait for the file to come through. I remember when they were changing my counterpart face to the access face, they wait, they trigger you, they fragment you, and as they fragment you, you're going to be active to go and switch on and run yourself. And as you run yourself, you're going to come past random access memory. They wait there. They wait for your files to come through. As your folder comes through, because of they did something to you to make your program start doing something, running a something that you're not supposed to be running, whatever, fragmented you in some way. Then they wait for that file. They know that they're waiting for you. When you come through and it says Destiny's file is here, they grab that file. They change whatever they want to change spiritually. That spirit, that's your spirit now. They're effing around with your spirit program. And then they put the file back onto the queue. It flies off. Then they have done what they needed to do. They changed things like they were changing my file, my program. They wait for you to run. They trigger the program somehow. That is, they fragment you. And when they fragment you, you're obviously going to run something, right? Fear, anxiety, whatever. And that means you're going to come up in the ROM. Because you were not supposed to do anything, right? You were just minding your own business, just existing in the system, not really being called to do anything. But they come, they fragment you some way, and then you're running some sort of a thing that you feel like, okay, I need to run something. You don't know what you're running. You're just running fear, anxiety, sadness, whatever it is that they did to you, and you're gonna come up on the RAM, random access memory. I keep saying ROM. Random access memory. That random access memory, it's access. It accesses you, no matter your authorization, no matter what authorization is on that file. And that's how they're going to edit you. That's how they're going to send spiritual attacks to you. That's how they're going to do many other things to divert you. They gave themselves that access. On my layer. On the layer, the proxy layer. They gave themselves how's that? So the authorization on that to RAM. They gave themselves access to RAM memory, so that they can go there and sit there and wait for what they want. Okay. So I'm getting that. I just paused and I went to get water. All these things that we call witchcraft, and it's essentially accessing you or a folder or a program via random access memory. So if you know how to access random access memory environment or program, you're able to do changes to a program on the fly. But then it goes on further, because I said to further, those type of changes, do they stay in the system? Do they stay in the file? And he said no, because he says system health check. There's a system health check which are done regularly. I remember this. I remember him showing me. The system health checks are done regularly, and they would restore a program or a folder to its original place if it doesn't have a specific change that wasn't done with a specific access. It's like, but I'm hearing that that's still also logged. That's logged. Oh, goodness. That system health check stuff that would remove the curse or whatever thing that they did to a program. It's still logged in the system. System health check logs it to say, I removed this part in this file. Because it wasn't done in a way it's supposed to be. It wasn't done with authorization. It wasn't done with authorization through proper channels. So all the changes they do on a random access memory, they don't stick. Because of system health checks will take it off. But it will log that it took off a specific thing from that file or folder. It restored it again to original. They're sending me fear as I talk about this. They're throwing things, winds and stuff. And I'm getting that they're sending fear. My heart just went pop. Because they don't want me to talk about this. Because they are fearful. Because when I say system health checks, we'll still log it in the system files to say, these things have been changed. These things I've removed. They were done. And I'm getting that it does show who did it. But it doesn't, it removes it because of it's not the latest version saved on the system. It just shows that this thing was not supposed to be here. But it says this thing was not supposed to be here and it's done by so and so. I remember that. I remember Father showing me something which Uncle Oman changed. And it says, you see, it shows his signature. It shows his access, his credentials there. So when, that's how come it's going to be reversed. And these are system logs. They're not, it's logged on real earth layer. It's not logged on me. They might wipe out my memory because they did. But I still have access to they are revving their cars, they are upset. I still have access to the real layer. I was installed in the real layer. So I have access to that history. I have access to those log files, and they don't have access because they only exist in the proxy layer. Me, I'm installed in the real layer, but the layer that we are all living in is installed within me, meaning I get access to the real layer's recording as well as my recording. However, my recording has been fiddled with. This is why I'm able to go back into history, but using the logs from the real layer, from the real earth, because it's the system that is logging, system logs, not application logs, not program logs, but system logs tell me so and so access this program in this date and edit this. There is that memory, there is that recording, that log on the system. This is how Father is going to reverse the universe, and Father going to reverse the energy stolen from every other person. Oh, this is how I also restore the energy back when I defragment, there's evidence of who did what to who. Shoot. They are fucked. Oh my goodness. So going back to psychology and science having to be scientists and psychologists needing to understand their own spiritualities in order for their own spiritualities in order to evolve the different groups, like science itself and psychology itself and even medicine as well, is that essentially when you accept that you're a program and everything is a program, you will have to start looking at things in a program way as well. That is your spiritual way as well. And it doesn't help to just focus only on the physical, because you're not just a physical being. You're first a spiritual being. You're first a program which has a physical body. So it's important for you to understand and operate in your spiritual self. Understand your spiritual self, operate in your spiritual self, and also that way it will help you to operate in your physical self as well, because they are linked. They are linked. You're a spirit with a physical body. You're a spirit within a physical body. This is why they say, I remember I would call him my ex as well. I get the feeling he knew this shit. He wanted to teach me, but he had to stop as well. He said to me, whatever happens to you in this world, your spirit will always be fine. Right? This is your program. Your spirit will always be fine. Things that happen to you in this physical world are the physical issues that are happening to you. Your spirit might not necessarily ascend those physical issues. That is, it comes to this planet and it's not able to get through the physical issues in order to ascend spiritually. But the state of the program as it was written, when it was written on the spiritual level, where it's stored in the spiritual environment, it's still fine. Right? This is why when you die, you will realize I tried, and perhaps I'll get another chance to go back, where your spirit becomes your program is still fine. The only issue that I think is going to happen to your spirit is if you deplete its energy in the physical. That is, you go and do things which robs it of its energy, and you're not able to vibrate high enough for you to go into heaven state, but you would have to go to a hell state. That is, the energy is the only thing that changes, but the program itself, how you were written, doesn't change. It only changes when you get your updates here and you're updated into a better being. That's what, oh yes, and I remember that. Father, I remember you taking me through this. And I remember you saying to me, don't stop and don't be lazy when you come here. They will want you to stop and not to be lazy about continuing. And I got the feeling of, I think I want to do something else. This is why I'm saying to Father, I think I'll have to come in and do this again. So, your spirit is still fine. Your program is still fine. How it was written is still fine in the spirit world. Your energy is the one that is depleted because of you were using your program in a way that you're not supposed to be using your program. Therefore, you deplete your energy. And when you do that, this is where you have to go and get some energy by going via hell first. And once you work on yourself there and heal in heaven, in hell, obviously, you're able to come back into the sacred timeline and either go to hell if you're dead, to heaven if you were dead, or continue with the play of the spiritual ascension. There's something that I left, Father. I got disrupted by that dog that was barking. So this guy was telling me that your spirit will always be okay. You get your upgrades here. So if you accept your upgrade, whatever you go through onto the physical, right, and you get an upgrade, and you're able to maintain and sustain that upgrade and ascend with that upgrade. That is, whatever upgrade you get, whatever you have to go through here in the physical, you transcend that, you rise above it, and therefore you get your upgrade implemented in you, meaning you have become a different program now. You get more functionality, whatever that is that you came here to do. And as you ascend the spiritual ladder, you get upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. Let's say something does happen to you before you finish your journey towards the divinity line or divinity end. You die, but when you die, your program is updated and you're still able to vibrate higher, and you go to heaven. Then you get an opportunity to come back again on earth and redo that and master yourself up until the point of divinity. But I'm trying to go back to that random access memory. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Obviously, they're blocking my intuition somehow, but it's fine. We're going to relax to it. Spirit, help me to relax to it. So this is essentially why we're saying, I was trying to say that this is why it's all about programming in the end. As much as it's a science, right? Your science is still going to be you understanding the program of something. I'm asking the question if it's really necessary for science to even exist. Because is it that we say Earth has to find its own spirituality? Or is it that we say someone else has to discover the spirituality of Earth? And what does that mean? Okay, so this is where you would say you came here, you mastered Earth and Earth spirituality, or you mastered geography, or you mastered like the geology of things, or you mastered a specific metal, but not just in a science way of understanding a metal, but more in a spiritual way of understanding the metal in such a way that you're able to bend it and you're able to change it, transform it somehow, alchemize it, change it into something, because you would have learned the program for what the metal actually does or how it operates, and you would figure out how to change maybe something like a normal steel into gold if you wanted to, because you would understand how steel operates, its program level. And once you do that, you will be able to say, I want to alchemize this steel, that is, change it in such a way that it becomes gold. As I'm talking, I'm getting so sleepy. So they obviously are taking my crown chakra. I'm getting that scientists have to evolve themselves. They have a lot of work. I'm hearing that some scientists are going to walk away from the profession. Some are walking away because there's things that they cannot understand. They realize that what they thought they knew doesn't even make sense anymore with what is happening today, currently in this environment. It's like if you don't understand your own program, if you're not even willing to understand your own program like that, you won't understand what an atom program is essentially. It's like it takes a self-discovery, self-mastery before you can master something else. And scientists may find it hard to align because they're so used to the physicalness of things and explanation of the physicalness of things. They're not used to spiritual explanation kind of things. So it will obviously make it difficult for them to see things for what they really are. It takes an atom to understand itself. That's what I'm getting. You can't understand another atom. You can't understand okay, what I'm getting is depending on what your program was meant to do for a specific purpose. If you came here with the purpose of Father, the universe, God wrote your program or updated your program and gave you a purpose or mission to come and understand the atom, that's what will happen. You would be given those gifts to be able to understand an atom. That would be your mission, right? So that will be your purpose and your mission. But and you will discover it with guidance from the universe. But if you're not assigned that purpose, you won't have access to the gifts that you need in order for you to be able to understand and master an atom, for instance. And that means you wouldn't achieve whatever goal that you have intended for yourself, because you're anyway not living your purpose, right? You're doing your own thing, and the gifts that you need to understand an atom might not be within your reach or within you. Like maybe you need to be something else or understand certain things in order for you to understand atom. But those things, you need to come with them, or you need to acquire them first before you understand an atom. And to acquire them, you need some sort of a guidance from people who were masters or were doing something similar to what you're trying, in order for them to guide you where to get those gifts or how to get that skill. So it becomes a very difficult thing to achieve, almost impossible. This is why science it's starting to, I'm hearing that it's starting to, what's that word? I heard implode. I don't know what it means, but something like that on itself. It's starting to implode on itself. That is, they're going back and rehashing and changing the things that, it's as if like they used to say something is wrong, and that very thing that they said is wrong, someone is proving it to be right today. It's like they're trying, it's like the concepts that were proven before, and some people were denying them, are being proven right, and vice versa. Those that were proven to be correct and might not necessarily stand today. And I did hear something like this before, like a lot of things are going to be disproven in terms of science itself. I was like, huh? Why? But that's what I'm getting. But if you really look at it, if the real science is the fact that you need to understand the program, the purpose of that thing, that's actually, it's not a science, it's more like a programming kind of a thing. That is, every scientist needs to understand the programming purpose of a specific topic that they're going through or that they're researching. If you like want to understand, for instance, dark matter, you have to understand what program it has. What if it's a for me, I know Father comes from darkness, but I wouldn't call that dark matter. I think dark matter is something that humans have created or a concept of. But perhaps it could be that the dark matter they're talking about is just the energy that is swirling already around the universe. But that wasn't even a program. It was more like an existence. As in, like, Father was just existing as an energy source, an energy that he wasn't even aware that it can create as much as it has by this time. So how would you classify dark matter? Because everything comes from it. Shit, am I going to be proving some scientific thing, Father? Because I'm talking and I'm not even understanding. I'm sleepy. I'm talking from sleep. Alright. What did I say? Because I'm hearing myself and I'm like, I didn't just say what I just said. Where did I get that? You proving dark matter, meaning you're going to have to understand it as just energy. When Father showed it to me, it was just darkness. And from that darkness, it was still energetic enough to feed everything. And if darkness, if energy, like Father, like an energy source, an infinite energy source like God, the Creator, can emanate or come from darkness, that is, if we are assuming that darkness, dark matter that they're talking about is actually what I saw as darkness. It's just darkness. It's just darkness. He's saying, Father's saying there's energy there. That's energy. Just because of you don't see anything doesn't mean it's nothing there. He exists there. And from that dark matter, he was able to form himself. No, he was able to create a consciousness of himself. From that matter came out consciousness. And from that consciousness came out intelligence. And that intelligence translated to everything we see today. I'm getting that from that nothingness, that darkness, that nothingness came out light. So if that darkness and light and came, from that darkness, light emanates from that darkness. Essentially, it means there is no such a thing as nothingness. Because look at what it has created. I hear that they're saying that dark matter is actually quite, the energy there is not necessarily significant in the dark matter space. But it's from that insignificant energy source where Father, God the Creator, was able to create energy with it. Enough to create himself. Through developing a consciousness. So essentially, to create something, you have to be able to create from nothing with just thought. If you could do that, you could create yourself. But unfortunately, you already exist. And you cannot go back to that state. Because of the infinite source that you exist within already exists. So whatever is created and exists within this environment, within this energy source, is all there is to be existing, in a sense of everything that will exist within this already created source. Otherwise, you have to never create, never be, never exist as a being, and find your consciousness through darkness. Develop the intelligence to reimagine yourself again and get to a point where you exist as a being. I'm hearing there can never be another God, the Creator, which is what I thought. So essentially, the dark matter that they're studying, they're trying to study God. This is how I see Father, though. This is why I keep saying His energy before He's anything. He's that dark energy. Everything else that develops after the dark energy is an extension of the dark energy. That light that emanates is a version of Himself in a light mode. That what He creates as well after that is just an extension. It's like darkness extended to light, extended to darkness extended to consciousness, extended to light extended to intelligence extended to creating some sort of a solidness of something, or spirituality of something that created something. So everything came from darkness. This is why I say you can never have light without darkness, but you can have darkness without light. That is your base. Your darkness is your base. It's like, it feels like it says like your darkness being your base. From nothingness you create. Right? It's almost like, it's not almost, it's like saying this is why it's infinite. You can never stop it. Because how do you stop nothingness? By creating. And how do you stop creating? By going back to nothingness. But then the process continues, because you can't stop nothingness. Nothingness will always imagine itself someday. It will have some sort of consciousness and creates again. And what happens when you've created, if you wanted to stop that creation, it will have to be nothingness. And what happened to that nothingness, it will go back to being something. And therefore you become infinite. And whatever is created within that infinity, be it planets, universes, people, exists within that infinite stream of energy flow. Dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. You can't stop it. Because as you stop it, it's like it goes back to its normal state, which was darkness. But darkness has a conscious again. And it creates itself. And then when I'm hearing that they did that, actually, he did that a couple of times. Shit. That must be some hell of an existence. I'm hearing that he has been through it. He stops and he comes back. He stops and he comes. He has been doing this many times before. He's existed in form, unexisted. Every time he does it a best way, the better way, he learns from it and does it better. Meaning he has memory. He's saying that dark matter has a memory, energy. That's why it's energy. It will have memory. My goodness. I don't know where I'm getting this shit. Okay, I'm getting it from the universe, right? From source itself. But I'm just, now I'm like, oh goodness, what am I saying now? So you've existed before. I got that. I had that feeling at some stage. I think that's what you were trying to say. In the beginning when you were showing me your existence. You said you've been there before. You keep getting better. You keep asking even better. You were there, and you come out and in and out and in and out and in and out. But as you come in and out and in and out, there's a point where you start asking that intelligent question or those intelligent questions. And you gamma in and out and in and out and in and out. Where that infinity just continues. Vibrates so high that the light becomes almost solid, that light. And as you learn to vibrate high, you become solid in a spiritual way. You're able to keep forms in a spiritual way. And then you create even further by thinking more intelligently and trying to keep something in a much more solid way. Like a spirit can be solid in the spiritual world, but you created physical world to create the physical solidness of it. But you've done this many times. You would be able to do this many times. Oh, okay. I see why we end up where we ended up. But this time you're doing it differently. This time you're not. I'm getting that this time you're not going to end it completely. That's where I'm saying I see where you ended last time. You're not going to end it completely. You're only going to keep what is good. You're getting better. You're keeping something, some of it. The best. The things that work. And you're going to build your base from there. Every time you did that, I got that, Father. I remember you saying something like that. I remember you and Mother. It's like every time you're going to try it, you keep more of yourself, keep more of yourself, keep more. As you come in and out, come in and out, come in and out. But this time you're saying, I remember you guys saying that you have a different plan this time to continue with this existence longer, but just keeping only what is essential, what is working. What has a potential to add to the environment and sustain itself. This is the reason for the spirituality lessons. So we evolve enough to be able to sustain and maintain ourselves, where we don't need the Creator to always be taking care of us. I remember you and Mother sitting there smiling, happy that most of the programs that remained and the worlds that remained were self-sustaining because they learned to be like you, to vibrate like you, to keep the vibration. Yes, you said to me, I'll be able to keep a certain frequency. I'll manage to keep a certain frequency. And that felt like that was key. That's the frequency that is required. In order to survive in this new world. Not world, but the new environment, the new universe. This is what I'm saying. Okay, but that universe was smaller. And there's another side. I saw another. The universe was small. This is why I said there's another recording where I said there's a few planets there. Not all planets make it. And people are not gonna be just alone anymore. Humans are just not gonna be alone anymore. So you're gonna keep that. And you're gonna move with it towards the next place. That still needs to go through its rigorous testing environment. And that will still move on to another environment. Oh, I remember that. I remember that. Wow. So this is that was a fake dream. You said that. You said she wasn't there. She's not gonna be there. You should hear the environment as I say this. The winds are blowing. She's not gonna be there. She's not gonna be part of that environment. Because I saw her. I left her in that other world, in the earth world, when it was destroyed. Why am I getting something about someone is going to catch on with what we just discussed about dark matter and infinity? I feel like you were guiding me towards this discussion about dark matter and infinity. The Big Bang Theory. Funny thing is, I had this epiphany while I was talking about I was not talking about Big Bang Theory. Funny thing is, I was in the loo, just coming out, and I laughed about something that I said about science, that science is limited. And I was like, it's funny, I say such things, but I loved the Big Bang Theory so much, and science as well. But at the same time, I was like, it's gonna be funny because I say such things, but then at the same time, I am very much interested in some sciences. I'm not that into deep with them, but I love the Big Bang Theory. Alright. And I was singing the song. But now I'm realizing that the Big Bang Theory that has been streaming in my feed, I never asked for it. I don't even know how I got it. I just started getting the Big Bang Theory. You were guiding me towards some, okay. That vision, I'm getting that deja vu that I was going to get a vision. I did get a vision about you, Big Bang Theory specifically. You were going to guide me towards a topic using Big Bang. One of my favorite, you said it will be one of your favorite programs, TV programs. Yes, you said that. You said that. You said it will be one of your favorite TV programs. When I was still, I swear I'm living a this is. You said you will guide me. You're gonna guide me with one of my favorite TV programs towards this specific discussion. And I was wondering, what is this description that you gave me here? I'm like, psychology and science. What? And whenever you come up with these things, and I'm like, I don't know what Father's gonna say with this one, but let's just do it. And I was interested in the science part of it and the psychology part of it, because I've been touching on these subjects a little bit, and now I'm realizing it was because there's a reason for it. There's a reason, because you were guiding me towards something, and they never thought I would get here. So you wanted me to talk about this dark matter thing, the understanding of this dark matter. It is energy. It's just energy. As dismal, as little as it might sound, that there's not much energy there. That's the start. And you increased it in your positiveness, in your high vibrationalness. You're able to take something, nothing, and start something with it. And in order for people to start their own universe or world, or worlds or whatever, it means you as a source, you need to not exist anymore and allow someone else, or someone else has to not exist anymore and go and exist somewhere and create themselves elsewhere. But they can never do that, because they exist within this energy. If they stop existing, they will also stop existing within this energy, within yourself, within you. They are part of you. You are part of us. So if I stop existing, it means I'm still going to be part of you. And this is why you send me to the ancestors. You said you cannot never exist. The only way is for you to be with the ancestors. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll stay with the ancestors then, because I didn't want to exist. I said to you, I cannot. Oh, shoot. That's what you're saying. There's no way for anyone to never want to exist. Okay, you cannot. For me, I will have to be with the ancestors. But the energy can never be lost. It will still, even if you stop being physical or spiritual, you just become energy. Like the ancestors were just energy talking and laughing. They're like, yeah, what else can we do? I was like, is this all that you do? You just sit around and talk? They're like, yeah, what else can we do? Okay. But I'm getting that the energy, all that energy that has been used up with all these environments, you guys managed to, that was the plan, always the plan, for you to start different things and see which one works and incorporate what works and move forward with that and see what happens next. So basically what you're saying is, if you stop existing, you will anyway have no choice but to start existing again, and have no choice to, like, even if you, what I'm getting is, even if you stop existing, even if you I don't know, human word of die, let's say God dies, which you can't, because you are that there is, right? There will be a time you'll take whatever millennia, whatever eons or whatnot, and you'll start again, and you remember a little bit of things, and then you start doing the same thing, and you say, okay, I'll do it better this time, and you start again, go in and out, like, back into darkness, lightness, darkness, lightness, darkness. As you do that, you creating, you there's no way to stop you. There's no way for you to stop, but except for you have to make it entertaining for yourself. That's what I'm getting. that you and mother making this all about you entertaining yourselves. It's a long existence. It has to mean something. Not just for you only, but for everyone. And you want to make it meaningful. Much more meaningful than it has been before. When we move forward into the new time era. Okay. So that we see what it is, what it becomes going forward. I'm getting that you're going to be reaching, so that is your timeline. You're going to be reaching a milestone, a new milestone, into a future that you also don't know. You know. But I see some darkness as well in that side. I see I don't know if we went there. Did I go there? This is where my sister does a fake dream for me to make it as if like I won't be able to cross over. And you were saying it's a fake dream because she made another fake dream of as if like this woman is just too much. As if like she'll survive the blast of that earth environment, and then she will come after me and they will block me from going through the portal. And then I will be stuck with them on that side. And you were like, don't worry about that. That's a fake dream. She's just too much. She hates me that much. She hates me to a point of I'm telling you, the environment is just, I said that, I was like, she hates me, and then the tree starts blowing again, the wind starts blowing, so it's true. She really hates me. She hates me to the point of in her plan, her hate to stop me. In her hate, she's just too focused on stopping me. But she doesn't understand. Either way, I'm as infinite as you are. We are as infinite as you are. Even if I don't exist going forward, I will exist some other time. You will bring me back. You said something like that. You said, don't worry about it. Even if she did that, I'll still bring you back. I think I took out I showed her my tongue. Again, you know how you go like, I remember crossing, and I was like, she's just not serious about this. Is she so serious? She couldn't cross. And Father's like, don't worry, it's a fake dream. But anyway, even if she did manage to keep you there, I'll still bring you back. And then I turned around and I was like, like I gave her, I stuck out my tongue at her again. I remember her face in that in that dream. She and Uncle Omen were in some sort of a spaceship. They made it sound like they survived it, and I was like, wait, I saw that person, that world blowing up, and she was not in any spaceship. How the heck did she survive it? Coming after me, trying to stop me from crossing over. And you said something like, that's not how it happens. That's not how it's going to happen. It's just their fake dream. All right, Father. And they are raving their cars again when I said that's not how it's going to happen. You were saying, you were actually like smiling. I remember you were smiling and you're like, don't worry about it. It's a fake dream. And I would still bring you back anyway. And she was listening this time. You saying to her, I will still bring you back. You saying to me, you'll still bring me back, right? And then she just had this. They just had this hateful faces, right? And you're like, anyway, that's not how it's gonna happen anyway. Like, that's not their idea of crossing portals. They love these portals, see? They like showing portals and stuff. They're trying to trick me to make me think that there's some sort of portals and stuff. But it's a portal it's not in a literal sense. It's in a metaphor kind of a sense of saying that, you know, she loves portals, this person. I think and I adopted that shit from her. But I understand when I'm explaining with it, it's like I'm just trying to make it seem like it's just one place for you to connect to. Or a way for you to connect. They're upset that I've been recording for this long. It's probably long. Yeah, it's long. But anyway, anything else, Spirit? Thank you for the message.